This is a look at the June 2023 paper 1 for integrated science. We begin with question 1, which refers to the following diagram. We have a little food web here, a very small one. The decomposers are the bacteria and the fungi. Question 2, which of the following blood groups has no antigen? It will be the O group. So C is the answer for question 2. Question 3, which of the following organisms are always at the beginning of a food chain? You will have the producers at the start of the food chain because they're the ones who produce their own food, referring to the plants. Which of the following structures is found only in plant cells? The cell wall will be the correct answer for question 4. Question 5, the testes of the human male correspond to the anthers of the flower because they are both the male sex organs. They are associated with the male sex organ, so they produce male sex cells. The structure of cells responsible for the transfer of characteristics from parents to offspring is chromosome. This is a very popular question in the multiple choice for integrated science. Question 7, which of the following methods of birth control is most likely to require an accurate prediction of the ovulation period? That would be the rhythm method or the rhythmic method. So for question 7, the answer is B. Which of the following is an example of prenatal care? That is care before the baby is born, meaning while the mother is still pregnant. So it will be ultrasound of the baby. You want to see how the baby is developing, they can take measurements. So A is the answer for question A. Which of the following statements concerning respiration is true? It will be C, aerobic respiration requires oxygen, while anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. Question 10, which of the following types of energy conversion takes place in the chloroplast during photosynthesis? Remember, the energy is coming in the form of light or sunlight, and it is being transferred to chemical energy. So C for 10. Question 11, which of the following is not a cardiovascular disease? And that would be diabetes. Diabetes is affecting the pancreas. Which of the following in question 12 processes require muscular contractions of the uterus? That is birth. The birth of a baby requires contractions. Looking for question 13. The most effective method used in controlling pests is the eradication of their breeding places. They are actually the most effective method. So the use of traps is good, but it's not the best of the answers. So on a question like this, you take your time, you read all the answers, and you select the best one. That's why they give you the word most in capital letters. Question 14, the elimination of feces from the body is called egestion. That's literally the definition of egestion. Which of the following is a function of white blood cells? Producing antibodies is correct. The hard outer layer, which protects the teeth, is called the enamel. It's the hardest substance in the human body. Blood boosting increases the number of red blood cells in the blood. An athlete whose blood has been boosted can perform better in a race because he or she can absorb more oxygen. Yeah, because that's a function of red blood cells to transport oxygen. 18, when the human eye is exposed to bright light, the immediate reaction is for the pupil to get smaller. Right? Try to restrict some of the light from entering. Question 19, the heart is protected from damage by the rib cage. Yes, the rib cage protects the heart and the lungs as well. Which of the following groups comprises only the primary colors of light? This is a popular question as well, a very basic question. Red, green, blue is the answer corresponding to B. Question 21. Which of the following are characteristics of sense organs? We have receive stimuli, contain specialized receptor cells, detect changes in the environment, and all three are correct. So we are going with 1, 2, and 3. Carbon monoxide has an affinity for hemoglobin in the red blood cells. Hemoglobin is in the red blood cells. It's a pigment of red blood cells. Question 23. Which of the following parts of the ear are concerned with the control of balance? That is the tympanic membrane. So B. Question 24. Which of the following endocrine glands secretes insulin? Will be the pancreas. C. Question 25. Which of the following examples of domestic waste do not easily undergo weathering or breakdown by bacteria? We have tin cans, paper bags, cotton rags, plastic bags. So not easily, and I know some persons may choose tin cans, but plastic bags take longer, right? So we're looking for the one that takes the longer. So D is the answer. Question 26. Which of the following factors will not affect the rate at which clothes hanging on a line are dried? Pressure, high pressure or low pressure, not better than the wind, humidity, or temperature. So pressure is the answer B. 27. Plastic is usually used in electric plugs because it is a poor conductor of electricity. So it's good for insulation. When you want to insulate the plugs, it's very good. Question 28. Which of the following is the method of heat transfer that occurs in fluids? If we're talking about fluids, it means we're talking about convection. Item 29 refers to the following diagram of a thermometer. The part labeled 1 is the bulb. That's the bulb. Question 30. The gas from a chemical fire extinguisher is effective in putting out fire mainly by excluding oxygen from the fire. Yeah? You want to take away something from the fire triangle. Question 31. Which of the following circuits will only bulb Q light up? And I have put in the state of the bulbs on the side here. So this is the switch. That switch is in the off position for both of them. For A, it's both of them are in the on position. For C, P is on and Q is off. And for D, P is off and Q is on. And they ask you for only Q to be light up. So if it is on, it means Q is lit. So the answer is D. Question 32, the formula used to calculate the momentum of an object, F equal ma, and you have the mass by velocity. See, some formulas, there are a few formulas for integrated science that you just have to learn of. Just memorize that. Wood is used for the handle of a pot spoon because wood is a great insulator. It doesn't conduct heat very well. So the answer for 33 is A. Which of the following alloys consist of tin and lead? Written it out. Steel, I think we all know what steel is. Brass, copper, and zinc. Solder, and bronze, copper, and tin. So, C is the answer. Which unit of electricity is a measure of resistance? And I hope everyone is automatically seeing the answer as ohm. Steel cans for canning food are coated with tin, mainly because tin does not react with air on heating. But now we're moving on to 37. Item 37 refers to the following list, which identifies 3 forms of energy: heat, kinetic, electrical. When the water boils in an electric kettle, the lid blocks up and down. Which of the following indicates the correct sequence of energy changes taking place? So we need the electricity first, the kinetic energy last. So 1, then the heat, move the lid. So it's 1, it's 3, 1, 2, that's A. A corrosive substance is one which burns some material. It's toxic, it's explosive, catches fire easily. Yeah, they burn some material. When a car has a momentum of 0, it means that the car is not going anywhere. It is no longer moving. A. 39 is A. Question 40. A small reading room would be most suitably illuminated using you have a 25-watt filament lamp, a 40-watt fluorescent bulb, a 60-watt fluorescent lamp, a 75-watt filament lamp. They said it's a small room, so you don't want the room to get hot, and it's a reading, so you want it to be bright as well. So the compromise between the heat and the brightness is C, 60-watt fluorescent lamp. Which of the following descriptions, this is 41, correctly matches the corresponding classes of levers? Effort in the middle, class 1. Load in the middle, class 2. Fulcrum at the end, class 3. And all you have to do is write this out. If you get this question in the exam, just take your time, write it out. You know there are 3 things: load, effort, and fulcrum. Just draw a lever and write where each one is, and you will be able to identify that the 2 correct ones are class 2 and class 3. The load in the middle for class 2 and the fulcrum at the end for class 3. So 2 and 3 only. The point at which a lever turns is called this question coming directly after this next, it's a giveaway mark. The fulcrum B. Which of the following is an alloy? Well, tin, iron, and zinc. We are very familiar with the periodic table, and they are all elements on the periodic table. Brass is the only alloy made of copper and zinc. Question 44. The main use antiseptic is to decrease the possibility of infections. Bacteria, kill all bacteria on the skin. Remember, that's antibiotic. Yeah, that's antibiotic. Promote fast healing, treat sunburns. We're sticking with A as our answer. Which of the following is a base? And just looking at them, sodium hydroxide jumps out. It's the most popular base you at this level will learn about. The force which acts on all bodies in water, causing them to appear to have less weight, is called upthrust. The boundary formed by the meeting of 2 air masses is called a front. And there are different classes of fronts, which you know: whole front, stationary front. They are different ones. And when you did your weather patterns, you would have come across this definition. Item 48 refers to the following information. A type of soil possesses the following characteristic: very small air spaces between particles, poor drainage of water, waterlogging after rains. The soil described is most likely clay. Question 49. Seawater can be made fit for drinking by the process of distillation. Item 50 and 51 refer to the following diagram, which illustrates a body P that revolves around the sun, and another body R that revolves around P. Which of the following terms best describes P? P is a planet. They use P for planet. Which of the following terms best describes R? Asks question 51. And that would be something like a moon, which is a statler. B is the answer for question 51. There are limits to the height and mass of materials which can be transported by a vehicle. The reason for this is to ensure that vehicles' center of gravity is not raised beyond safe limits. That is correct. Question 53. Which of the following gases, when dissolved in a diver's blood, can give rise to the bends? That is nitrogen. The deeper a person goes, the more pressure there is on the body. Gases can come out, can dissolve into the blood and dissolve out of the blood and go into the joints and lead to problems. Which of the following is least related to the occurrence of a tsunami? Rain, flooding, tidal wave, movement of seafloor. It'll be rain. Question 55. Which of the following is not an alternative source of energy? It jumps out at the pole. D. Question 56. Which of the following methods of fishing would most likely result in overfishing? Fishnets. You have to use fishnets in order to overfish action. Which of the following processes does not occur in the carbon cycle? It's precipitation. Precipitation is things from the water cycle like rain. That not happening with the carbon cycle. Which unique property of water allows small insects and spiders to be able to walk or glide across its surface? The high surface tension. B. For 58. 59 refers to the following diagram of a pencil. Which of the labeled points on the pencil is the closest to its center of gravity? The pencil is basically kind of lying down. It's horizontal, so C is the answer. Notice how they drew it horizontally. Question 60. In which of the following situation is friction a useful force for slowing down a bicycle? That's our 60 questions